Property valuation before purchasing pre-owned, the essential guide. You've found it, the apartment you've been searching for. Perfect location, right number of bedrooms, reasonable price, or so it seems. You're ready to make an offer, maybe even already mentally arranging furniture in your head. But here's the question that should be keeping you up at night. Is this property actually worth what the seller is asking? In Israel's hot real estate market, where properties can sell within days and bidding wars are common, it's easy to get caught up in the momentum and skip one of the most critical steps in the buying process: proper property valuation. Today, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about valuing pre-owned property before you buy. Not the romantic part of real estate, the cold, hard, analytical work that protects you from overpaying by hundreds of thousands of shekels. Before we get into the how, let's talk about the why. Here's what's at stake. You could overpay by 10 to 20% or more. In Israel's competitive market, properties sometimes sell for significantly more than they're objectively worth. If you overpay by 15% on a 2.5 million shekel apartment, you've lost 375,000 shekels before you even move in. Your mortgage depends on it. Banks do their own valuation before approving your mortgage. If their appraiser values the property lower than your purchase price, the bank will only lend based on their lower valuation. Suddenly, you need to come up with more cash for the down payment, or the deal falls apart. It affects your future resale. Overpaying today means you'll need the market to appreciate significantly just to break even when you sell. Let me give you a real scenario. Michael and Shira found an apartment in Jerusalem listed at 2.8 million shekels. It seemed like a good deal. They loved it and wanted to move quickly. Fortunately, they hired a professional appraiser first. The appraiser's analysis? Similar apartments recently sold for 2.4 to 2.5 million shekels. The apartment needed 200,000 shekels in renovations. The building had pending maintenance issues. True market value: 2.3 million shekels in current condition. Armed with this information, they negotiated down to 2.35 million. They saved 450,000 shekels and knew exactly what they were buying. Without proper valuation, they would have paid 2.8 million for something worth 2.3 million. That's the power of valuation. Valuation method. 1. Comparative market analysis. This is the foundation of property valuation, comparing your potential purchase to similar properties that have recently sold. You identify properties that are comparable, similar size, location, condition, and features, and analyze what they sold for. This gives you a baseline for fair market value. You want properties that are in the same neighborhood, ideally within a few blocks, similar size within 10 to 15 square meters, similar condition and age, and sold recently, within the past 6 to 12 months. The challenge in Israel is gathering actual sale prices. There's no MLS with transparent sale prices. You need to check the land registry for recorded sale prices, talk to real estate agents, use online platforms that aggregate sale data, and network with neighbors. Then you need to adjust for differences. No two properties are identical. Floor level matters. Higher floors typically command premiums. View matters. Sea view versus facing a wall. Condition. Renovated versus needs work. Parking can add 100,000 to 300,000 shekels in value. Storage can add 50,000 to 150,000 shekels. Let me give you a real example. Danny is considering a 95 square meter apartment on the 4th floor in Tel Aviv's Florentine. The asking price is 3.2 million shekels. The apartment needs moderate renovation. He finds 3 recent sales and makes adjustments for floor level, condition, parking, and size. After adjustments, the average value comes to 3.05 million shekels, with a range of 2.985 to 3.13 million. The asking price of 3.2 million is at the high end or above market value. Danny should offer around 2.9 to 3.0 million and negotiate from there. Valuation method. 2. Cost approach. This method calculates what it would cost to replace the property. the land value plus construction costs minus depreciation. You determine what the bare land would be worth. Calculate how much it would cost to build this exact property today. In Israel, construction costs typically run 6,000 to 20,000 shekels per square meter, depending on quality. Then subtract depreciation. Buildings depreciate approximately 1 to 2% per year. This method is most useful for newer properties, unique properties without good comparables, and for validating results from other methods. Valuation method. 3. Income approach. This method is most relevant for investment properties. The formula is value equals net operating income divided by capitalization rate. You determine what the property could rent for monthly, calculate net operating income by subtracting all operating expenses like property tax, building fees, insurance, and maintenance, then apply an appropriate cap rate. In Israel, prime locations typically use 3 to 4% cap rates, secondary locations 4 to 5%, and peripheral areas 5 to 6%. Here's an example. Yoni is considering an apartment in Haifa that could rent for 5,500 shekels per month. Annual gross income is 66,000 shekels. After subtracting operating expenses of about 28,560 shekels, net operating income is 37,440 shekels. Using a 4.5% cap rate, the estimated value is 832,000 shekels. If the asking price is 1.2 million shekels, there's a significant premium over investment value. This tells you the property is priced above pure investment economics. Professional appraisals. While you can do a lot of valuation analysis yourself, there are times when hiring a professional appraiser is essential. You absolutely need a professional appraisal for your mortgage. Banks require it. For unique or high-value properties, professional expertise is crucial. When you lack market knowledge, a professional appraiser can provide insights you can't get elsewhere. And for negotiation leverage, a professional appraisal gives you credible evidence to support a lower offer. Professional appraisers conduct thorough property inspection, research comprehensive comparable sales, analyze market trends, evaluate property condition, assess legal status, and produce detailed written reports. The cost typically runs 2,000 to 4,000 shekels for basic appraisals, more for complex properties. The physical inspection. Valuation isn't just about comparing prices. It's about understanding what you're actually buying. Physical inspection reveals issues that dramatically affect value. You need to inspect structural elements like cracks, foundation, roof, and balconies. Check all systems: electrical, plumbing, HVAC, water heaters. Look for moisture and environmental issues like water damage, mold, and pest problems. Examine finishes and features throughout the property. Hiring a professional inspector for 2,000 to 5,000 shekels is highly recommended for older properties showing any signs of problems or high-value purchases. Every problem discovered should adjust your valuation. Minor cosmetic issues might be 5,000 to 20,000 shekels. Moderate renovation needs run 50,000 to 150,000 shekels. Major systems replacement costs 100,000 to 300,000 shekels. Structural issues can be 200,000 to 500,000 shekels or more. A property that looks move-in ready but actually needs 200,000 shekels in repairs is worth 200,000 shekels less than the asking price, minimum. Legal and zoning factors. In Israel, legal status and zoning significantly affect property value, sometimes by hundreds of thousands of shekels. You must verify tabu status. Is the property fully registered? Are there any liens, mortgages, or encumbrances? Does the seller actually own what they're selling? Check building permits. Was the building legally constructed? Have renovations been done with permits? Are there any outstanding violations? Understand future building rights? Can additional floors be added? Can the property be expanded? Are there urban renewal prospects? Always hire a real estate lawyer to review legal status before finalizing any purchase. The 5,000 to 10,000 shekel legal fee could save you from a financial disaster. Putting it all together. Now you've gathered information from multiple sources. How do you synthesize this into a confident valuation? Calculate values using different methods: CMA, cost approach, and income approach. Weight them based on relevance for your specific property type. For a standard apartment in an established neighborhood, CMA might get 60% weight, with the other methods at 20% each. Then adjust for property-specific factors discovered in inspection, legal or zoning advantages, unique features, and market momentum. You should end up with a value range: conservative value, most likely value, and optimistic value. Here's an example. For a 4-room apartment in Be'er Sheva with an asking price of $1.55 million, your analysis might yield a weighted average of $1.39 million. After adjustments for needed renovations, parking, and slow market conditions, your adjusted value is $1.3 million. Your value range might be conservative $1.2 million, most likely $1.3 million, optimistic $1.4 million. Your strategy? Offer $1.25 million, willing to negotiate up to $1.35 million maximum. Negotiation strategy. Armed with proper valuation, you can negotiate strategically rather than emotionally. If the property is priced at your valuation, offer slightly below asking, 5 to 10%, to leave room for negotiation. If it's priced above your valuation, offer based on your valuation, not the asking price. Present your reasoning with comparable sales, property condition, and market conditions. Be prepared to walk away if the seller won't budge. Do present factual analysis and inspection findings. Don't get emotionally attached and overpay. Do be willing to compromise if the gap is reasonable. Don't split the difference just to make a deal if the valuation doesn't support it. Red flags. Certain issues should immediately lower your valuation or make you walk away entirely. Structural red flags include major cracks, water infiltration, compromised balconies, and foundation issues. Legal red flags include unclear ownership, properties without proper permits, and ongoing legal proceedings. Financial red flags include sellers in distress and buildings with massive deferred maintenance. When you encounter red flags, either walk away, drastically reduce your valuation by 20 to 30% or more, or make the purchase contingent on resolving the specific issue. Never ignore red flags hoping they'll resolve themselves. They won't. Final thoughts. Proper property valuation isn't exciting. It's not the fun part of buying a home. It involves spreadsheets, research, cold analysis, and sometimes disappointing conclusions about properties you love. But it's absolutely essential. The difference between buying based on emotion and buying based on proper valuation can be hundreds of thousands of shekels. It's the difference between making a sound investment and making an expensive mistake. It's the difference between confidence and anxiety. Take the time to value properly. Do the research. Run the numbers. Hire professionals when needed. Trust the data more than your feelings. When you finally make an offer, you'll know it's based on analysis, not hope. When you sign the contract, you'll be confident you paid a fair price. When you move in, you'll sleep well, knowing you made an informed decision. That peace of mind is priceless. And ironically, by focusing on proper valuation rather than just falling in love with properties, you'll probably end up with a better property at a better price than if you'd let emotion drive your decisions. Welcome to Informed Real Estate Investing. Your bank account will thank you.